This is True Conspiracy Shorts, and this is Operation Paperclip, the shocking truth about Nazis and NASA. This one's fun. That's sarcasm, by the way. As the Allies advanced into Germany in 1945 as the Second World War lurched to an end, they discovered that within all the death and misery bloomed a wealth of scientific talent. The Nazis had been working tirelessly to come up with something, anything, that would turn the almost inevitable tide of failure back in their favour. Brilliant minds had contributed to Germany's significant wartime technological advancements. Reluctant to waste such brilliance, Operation Overcast began. The US Joint Chiefs wanted to leverage the Germans' expertise in the ongoing conflict with Japan. It was also thought that their knowledge could become useful post-war. In their efforts to create the tide-turning superweapon, the Nazis had become quite skilled at rocket science, not to mention aviation, and of course chemical and biological warfare, because they're f***ing Nazis. As World War II dragged on, Germany realised that there was a rather large iceberg looming on the horizon in the shape of logistical disadvantage. Their failure to conquer the USSR had severely depleted resources and left them poorly prepared against the Red Army's westward counterstrike. Now was the time that the German government needed brains more than brawn, so in early 1943 they began recalling scientists from combat and gave them a proviso: defence. 4,000 Rocketeers were recalled from frontline combat and arrived in Peenemünde. If you're struggling to see where this is going, the next quote is from Dieter K. Hussel's book called Peenemünde to Canaveral. That's a clue. Overnight, PhDs were liberated from kitchen duty. Masters of Science were recalled from orderly service. Mathematicians were hauled out of bakeries, and precision mechanics ceased to be truck drivers. The undertaking of such a mass recall required identification of such minds. That job fell to Werner Osenberg. He was the engineer leading the Defence Research Association. He drafted a list of scientists, engineers and technicians and cleared the men for scientific work, and the Osenberg list was born. In March of 1945, a Polish lab technician discovered bits of the Osenberg list stuffed into a toilet at Bonn University. From there the list found its way to MI6, who then passed it on to US intelligence. The chief of the Jet Propulsion Section, Robert B. Staver, used this list to compile his own list of scientists to be captured and interrogated. At the head of this list was Germany's best rocket scientist, Wernher von Braun. In 1945, von Braun and over 1,000 colleagues surrendered to the Americans. One engineer later revealed, "We despise the French. We are mortally afraid of the Soviets. We do not believe the British can afford us, so that leaves the Americans." And so, in late June of 1945, they headed west, closer to the Americans to avoid the advancing Soviet army. Concern was growing that these German minds might emigrate and continue to work in countries who were neutral during the war, or worse, work directly with an enemy. The USSR relocated well over 2,000 Nazi specialists and their families in one night in late October 1946. So, in November of the same year, Ordnance Corps officers who wanted certain scientists to work with them in the US attached a paperclip to the front of their files, and Operation Paperclip was born. Over 1,500 engineers, technicians and scientists were moved from former Nazi Germany to the US for government employment. Several were members of the Nazi Party. According to Wikipedia, the operation played a crucial role in the establishment of NASA and the success of the Apollo missions to the Moon. Do you want to hear some stories about some of the more renowned space Nazis? Let's go. Up first is Walter Schreiber. Just weeks after his arrival in the States in 1951, the Boston Globe linked Walter to human experiments carried out at a woman's-only concentration camp, Ravensbrück. Schreiber was quickly tried, found guilty and sentenced to, just kidding, he emigrated to Argentina with the aid of the US military. In 1984, one of the scientists thought his connection to forced labour at Buchenwald subcamp Mittelbau-Dora meant he faced the threat of prosecution. Arthur Rudolph fled the US and headed to West Germany. Upon arrival in West Germany, Rudolph was told in no uncertain terms that he was not, well, just kidding, they granted him citizenship. Hubertus Struckhold was dubbed the father of space medicine after playing a major role in the development of innovations like the spacesuit and space life support systems. So important was he that a prestigious Struckhold Award was named after him. The award was given by the Space Medicine Association for 50 years between 1963 and 2013. When the Wall Street Journal highlighted a connection between old Hubertus and human experimentation in 2012, it was decided that the award was best retired. While justice for Struckhold was not swift, it was severe, because upon the discovery of his just kidding, he'd already been dead for a quarter of a century. In 1961, the man often considered the jewel in the paperclip crown, and father of space travel, or the father of rocket science, or the father of the American lunar program, Wernher von Braun, was investigated for his involvement in the Nazi Party as an SS member. He was tried and executed. Just kidding. The FBI said he'd only joined the Nazi Party to avoid imprisonment, which is lucky for them because that could have been really embarrassing. In case you thought such depravity belonged only to the US and Operation Paperclip, the Soviet Union also conducted a similar program called Operation Osoviakhim. It has been valued somewhere in the region of $10 billion in patents and industrial processes came as a result of the fruit of Operation Paperclip, which reminds me of the old saying about the love of money and evil. That was a clip from Mark W. Shako's Weird World podcast. That music you can hear now is Lone Wolf by Guillaume Bernard. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to get more weirdness in your life. If you want to listen to the podcast free, head over to my website markwshako.com for more info, and follow me on Facebook and X.